Oh, I am back. I'm gonna do some more 3D stuff. And I thought I'd start a new scene once again since I didn't actually make a scene last time. I just made a bunch of assets. That could be a trap. This time, I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna make a scene. And so, yeah. I want to make an interior. I like for personal work. I mostly have done exteriors, and I put together sort of a lot of interior scenes that I really like, that I kind of want to use as some inspiration, some jump off. A lot of different styles here, but there's some common themes. We have the kind of branchy biomorphic columns. I really want to have these kind of vaulted, wavy ceilings. Something I really like this kind of thing. Um, so maybe something like that in the center, and then having these this vaulting kind of fall off in multiple directions into these different corridors. So this is like the hub. Um, I could go into Photoshop and maybe draw some of what I was thinking, but I thought I'd get some stuff into the scene, then take screenshots, go into Photoshop, work over those, use those as reference, as a model. It's really good to have. Um, yeah, lots of Zaha Hadid in here. Uh, something kind of inspired by that. So I'm going to take some of my existing assets. I already have a few in mate. Something that's just feels very big and open. I also have some interesting ideas for columns. This is also great. Um, this kind of toes that line between interior and exterior. It's very interesting. I really like spaces like this. In fact, I might end up going with something like this. So rather than being completely interior, it has the psychological feeling of interioricity. So so that's maybe giving you an idea of what I'm trying to start here. Huh. So I might leave this up on my other monitor just to like have it. Uh, but oftentimes I'll leave the stuff up and then I'll forget to reference it and just end up doing my own thing. But we'll see. Um, so yeah, last time I wasn't checking chat very well at the beginning, but now I do have I do have chat open. So if you'd like to say hi, make sure everything's working. I should be able to message back. All right, so um, I have this library of assets that I've built up over the past few years. Um, I'll just go to quick access here. Um, and like I said, I have some ideas in mind. One thing that I really wanted to do for a while now is to take point cloud assets and put them inside of like glass floor. So the floor is about like you know this thick, but you have this interesting kind of sculptural entity underneath the floor, if that makes sense. So people who are walking around, they have the sense that they're floating above a bunch of stuff. I am totally rambling. Let's actually bring something in here. So I have a very heavy object that, oh, this might be relevant. Let's see. See that being a thing. These might be interesting for sealing pieces. I've used this one a lot before, but I rather like it. I'm only gonna bring in geometry shapes. It's gonna come in huge. Unfortunately, when I saved a lot of these assets out, I did not I use meters instead of centimeters as the units. So, okay, where is it? Um, that's strange. Let's merge. I can never seem to get these things started without encountering something that like normally doesn't seem to happen. I haven't actually imported anything from this folder since I made this install. Let's try importing it with everything. Obsolete file data found. Okay. All right. So for some reason the other one didn't come in. Here's one. I was thinking that this one could be part of a column. Let's make it. Now, I'm gonna measure this here just to get a sense of. Okay, so this thing's pretty big. It's about 34 meters. It's really big. So I'm going to go in, and because this is just, I don't think there are many modifiers being used here. I'm just going to collapse the whole thing after resizing it. You have to be very careful with resizing in 3ds Max because this is just deforming the geometry. It's not a true resize. If I were to add modifiers that had any kind of size to them, they would be treating it like it's old size. But if I reset Xform, that resets all that. So now this should be considerably smaller. So yeah, so now it's more. It's still pretty big, but I'm going to keep it that big because I really want to go grand here. So kind of high. So now I'm going to go in and deform the sky a bit. There are a bunch of different tools that I use for this kind of thing. I could twist it a bit. I was thinking about like squeezing it in a little bit. Just a little bit. I really like the cylinder FFD modifier, which allows me to go in and um, this is interesting. Sometimes when flipping, you get this kind of displacement. But I actually kind of like having these displaced. I think that may actually displace them a little bit. It looks like they're, like from a distance, it's going to look like they're being offset by wire. They're kind of. One thing I should do before anything else is set up V-Ray. I'll be doing only quick test renders. It might lock up the system just a little bit while I do them. Yes, I would like to change it. Let's give it a sun. Yes. Make the sun. I'll keep the multiplier the same. Let's go in later. And I'm going to change the exposure control right now because it would be really, really too bright. I'm going to render just now like this. And I usually slap down a V-Ray plane. Let's give it a color. And now we should have that. All right, so I'm probably going to end up brightening the sun just a bit. Yeah, I actually like this better, I think, displaced than not displaced. Don't like these. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of them in here too. So one nice thing would be like this long corridor, or even better, I could have these all along a spline where it's rather than a corridor that's straight, it kind of bulges out, and so there's something in the center. So it's kind of hard corridor that kind of opens into this like sort of like a courtyard area. Um, I can play with different views. You can have a view from the courtyard, a view kind of looking into the courtyard from the corridor. Let me check out. Is this going to be really big? Maybe I'll have multiple columns. This might be an interesting look. So this is just the base, and then there's going to be multiple columns kind of coming up through the center part. Let's see. I group this. Try this out where you do another cylinder. Just you can make it just kind of stretching it out a little bit to see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that better. Nice, sleek, slim kind of thing going on. We'll save this. Trying to think what to call it. Area interior, maybe. It's such a good feeling having cleansed out all this graveyard of started projects. You call it more of a purgatory. Um, that folder used to be a lot bigger. Thinking maybe there could be a platform on that these are leading to. Ooh, yeah, I can picture that one here. Now, quickly, just to kind of get a sense of the space, I'm gonna make a bunch of instances of this, like whether I want a straight space or not. I kind of like this natural tone wicker kind of a look. I think it's cool. So hopefully my stream isn't locking up while I do this. Um, while I do the render. So I'm just doing regular CPU rendering. I could do GPU rendering, which might speeds things up. It just limits options later on, but it doesn't really matter right now in the case of of test rendering. So I just made it the GPU. I think this would probably be better as a horizontal format. Hopefully that won't lock up my system as much. I still prefer CPU rendering. I know that's like an unpopular opinion these days, but I like the render passes that it lets you do. You get rid of all of these except this bottom one. Tweak it a little bit. So for the floor, let's just, I think I'm just gonna do some really basic shapes just to like block in the space. This is often a really good way to work rather than bringing in all your heavy geometry at once. Did I not put it? There we go. Started using a tablet more with 3D. But I'm still kind of getting used to it. And I may go ahead and just start adding some basic materials. I haven't opened up all of my material libraries yet, but I'm just gonna give this some clear glass. So it's great, especially the nice thing about GPU rendering is I can test out these more complex materials. That takes less time typically. I decided I'm not super wild on the floaty thing, at least not as much, maybe a little bit on these details. I just opened the group. What's great is you don't have to keep grouping and ungrouping. You just open and close groups to make them editable. And I tried it. But the nice thing about primitives is that they're so you can just go right and see this. So I'm going to do a couple of viewport adjustments here. I'm going to make my safe frame. So this shows me the boundaries of the render right here. So when I render, I know I've got the same I've got the same like boundaries, which is great. I may end up changing this aspect ratio. And also, one of the things I tend to do, I think they changed this. Here it is. So for purview purposes, you can change the field of view, and that's useful. I really like to pump up the drama, so I usually change that to 80. It makes the camera's angle wider, and so it exaggerates perspective. So see what just happened here. Now I'm gonna zoom back in, but it just adds this drama, but at the cost of distortion near the edges. So it's something that will often take that distortion and then go into Photoshop and I'll warp it. I'll make it a little more fisheye and a little less. Hey, cool. My friend James, awesome oil painter. He is just said hi. So now I am kind of curious. I just sent a comment in with Restream, and I just want to see if it showed up on Facebook because I'm still getting used to this platform. Did my comment show up? My comment did not show up. So that's interesting. Restream is supposed to make me comments. Okay. That's weird. I'm not going to deal with it now, but my comment is supposed to show up on Facebook. So I guess I just need to keep Facebook open in order to make comments, which is kind of a bummer. Okay, so it's showing my commented restream. All right, I'm not gonna take any more time at it. All right, back to this stuff. So I want to have something that bridges the curvy column. This column is supporting this platform, and the idea is, oh, you know what you could have is these are so big, right? These could be elevator tubes, and so the elevator lets off on this little platform here. So this platform could be like a place where people just hang out. Maybe a little rounder here. So let's establish scale before anything else. I'm gonna make a little person, little proxy person. So, he's gonna be about 180 centimeters tall. 20. Let's make him. Doesn't have to be exact, but so we have a proxy person here. So let's make some more people here. Put them in different parts of the scene and just get a sense of how big it is. I recently got this great little pack of 3D scanned people I can't wait to use. So I'm probably going to use them in this project. They're kind of designed for people doing like architectural viz. I just got something where James said just saw the comment. So yeah, so what I want to do is I want to have an arch that that feeds into this thing, and there's a few different ways I could do that. The quick and dirty way would be to make a copy of this. And I'm gonna go, first off, I'm gonna save a camera view of this. So we are gonna get a physical camera from view, go back to perspective view, but now I can always go back to that camera if I want to. What that means is I now go into orthographic view, zoom in here, and all right, so make the cap segments something like this. Yeah, I have a better way. I think I'm just going to take a spline. Oh, I'll do both. So, edit poly, delete, which sector I'm going to delete? Make a soft selection here. And then I can always go back to my camera view. So you have this nice kind of like parabola thing. Right now it's made out of glass, but what I was going to do is trace the glass with paths and then put geometry along those paths, give them some thickness, make it look like it has some extra structure that's holding this thing up. I also want to have, so let's establish, okay, so we established that people are this big. Would an elevator fit? It's actually a little too cramped for an elevator. I think that, yeah, we have a person, let me just make sure my person measurements right here. So 30 centimeters wide per person. That's actually too small. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty narrow, and that's still narrower than me, so I'm gonna say the average person is not like 50 centimeters wide. And you will notice that all of these updated because it's an instance. Nice. So yeah, we need to make this whole thing bigger. So the sloppy way to model this, well, let's do it the non-sloppy way. If there's a possibility of errors here. Make it 1.3 times the size. So what I just did was I rescaled it in such a way that there's no export modifier cluttering things, and it if I apply future modifiers, they're not going to affect. I'm not going to get wonky effects of it. All right. So this is going to be a translucent material. And I think I want to make it a little more diffusey. It's going to refract light a little more. This. Keep it white for now. I like the idea of things that are bright, light, airy. So maybe something like this now. It's kind of an interesting look. The glass is like way too shiny, but like there's some weirdness going on there. Yeah, I usually don't deal with materials at this stage. This is kind of a new thing, just because V-Ray Next, especially the GPU, is so freaking fast. I can get away with that, but it's easy to get tripped up in materials at this point in time. I'm totally not sold on this color scheme yet, although like that kind of natural green, the purple is interesting. I don't dislike it. I'm gonna make this a little bit more neutral though. Alright, so we have a little bit more gray in this now. So, anyways, so what I wanted to have was, I'm going to need to zoom way the heck out. In fact, I'm already seeing the need to change the aspect ratio on this scene. So, let's make it a little wider. You can even do the no, I don't want it to be that wide actually, because there's so much vaulting, there's so much vertical action going on that, yeah. But the great thing about 3D is I can always change the stuff. So I'm gonna lock this aspect ratio now. Yeah, I took it. So now it's a 2:3 aspect ratio. Just kind of, wait, is that what I just had? Oh my gosh, I'm a silly person. But one of the things is that been selling more prints of my personal work, and so all things being equal, I'm more likely to want to work in standard sizes. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna make a separate layer for cameras. In fact, let's bring in the lights as well. So all the kind of scene support stuff, cameras and lights. I'm just gonna make like a cameras and lights layer. For some reason, this mouse is all right. So I can now turn this stuff off in the scene. It's still going to render fine. And one thing I'm going to do is lock my scene view to the perspective view, so that I make sure I don't accidentally do what I just did there. Keep it a little bigger here. So yeah, so this whole thing is large enough now. I think that's still a really cramped elevator. I think I'm gonna have to make this even bigger. This is gonna have an elevator tube in it. Let's just design the elevator tube now. In the default layer. I'm not too concerned about scene management now. Just as easily come later. Quick align this to the center. So sometimes I'll go in and just look. I'll Google the statistics of like, oh no, it's not really statistics, but like, you know, the size of an elevator shaft or something. Like, there's obviously not one exact one. The minimum width of a shaft must width of 36 inches. Oh, it's a residential elevator dimension. Getting into the weeds here. I would think of them as being, for a place that's this grand, let's say 3 meters wide. In fact, let's err on the side of even more grand and make it like, now wait a minute here. Saying my radius is really low for what this should be in the scene. Here's a person. I'm wondering if there's something wonky going on with my units. Because this should be like, just gonna make it something like 12 feet. Oh, that's too big. This is kind of our. I didn't used to worry about scale, especially for concept art, but it makes so much sense, especially if you start using assets that that you made before, or even using other people's assets like this this people pack. It seems like I'm wasting time now getting units right, but it saves so much headache later on. I hate this color, so I'm going to change it. But I'm also going to give this the translucent treatment here. And right now I'm in isolation mode. I'm going to exit that and make this thing a whole lot bigger. So really what's going to need to happen is zooming way the heck out. So this is taking people only up about, you know, 2 floors-ish. Be generous. Move this floor down. Bruce Gemmell asked, what program is this? This is 3ds Max. Dean Allen Leggett says, it's just amazing. Thank you, Dean. And Johnny Katz says, I see a Santa girl emoji with a little dog peeking over a table kind of thing. That's cute. Hello, Johnny. Johnny's from Twitch. So it appears that my restream is still kind of working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some splines with this here. Make some support structures for it. I don't remember how many I have a script that automates this process, but by the time I launch it, it's probably just faster to just do this on my own. And I'm gonna create a spline from this selection. I use this all the time. Very, very useful. And I have a smooth curve going on here that I can then sweep the curve. That'll do for now. It's not perfect. You can see it's a little wobbly, but I'm really just going for placeholders right now. I don't like this camera anymore. It's too zoomed in. What I want to do, because I have to make this guy way bigger, I'm going to take this whole thing and do another scene rescale. And I'm going to make it like twice as big. That's a little better. It's still doesn't really support the size I want for this elevator. Now we're talking. Yeah, this thing's kind of huge. I mean, if I measure it, it's kind of interesting. It's almost, it's pretty big. Yeah, so our elevator is about like 10-ish feet wide. Probably good enough. And because we're still working in primitives here, it's very easy to just go into this cylinder and just raise the height rather than use the resize tool. Let me get way high. This is our elevator shaft. You know, I'm gonna make this just a hair bigger. It's kind of a cumbersome way to resize, but I've learned from experience that it's still the best way to do it. So what's going to be neat about this is that, you know, we're going to have this little awning over the elevator thing so people can come in and leave. I actually kind of prefer stairs to elevators, but is this a future where we need handicap accessibility? Maybe technology is such that it's just not needed anymore, in which case there could be stairs everywhere. It's interesting how you really can't divorce culture from architecture design. was thinking you could have this cool sliding door that's it's like this rounded cylindrical kind of sliding door for the elevator. Although you're not really going to be able to see it here, that'd be splitting hairs at this point. What I really want to do is just set the camera view. I'm actually thinking this platform might be a little bigger than what I need. I'm gonna move a couple of my little guys. Dudes are gonna go here. So this is what it looks like on top of everything. No, that's big enough. They're definitely gonna need a railing. So I'm gonna polify this. Go into edge select mode. Create an edge loop. This is just a quick way to get freeze this thing. I changed my right-click menus, and so I keep need to look for what I'm. Here we go. This allows me to select. Come on, I froze it. Shit. What? I think that Max 2020 changed the way that create shape works because this is supposed to freeze. Oh, maybe I just didn't hit it. I don't know, but now it got railings, so our dudes aren't gonna fall off. Even less cylindrical. I'll do something cool for the railing later on. I'm just really trying to establish the basics, trying to establish scale. So maybe maybe people can eat food up here. It does seem kind of cumbersome to like have to go all the way up the elevator just to like eat food. But we could have this island. Oh, I know, this island could connect to another island, and it'll crisscross over this walkway here. So there's a big food court over here. People can come over here, eat, look over this, cool view, and then they can go back down with this elevator. So this is maybe how it would work. So we can make a copy of this entire thing, perhaps. See. So one thing I was thinking about is these elevators are pretty small. This is a big place. You're going to have bottlenecks everywhere. But if elevators are in every single one of these columns, then the chances of like everybody lining up and needing to use the same one are hopefully lower. It is good to think about bottlenecks with architecture design, though. I'm just gonna make this. So then we might have a walkway that might look something like there we go. That. I actually have a better way of doing this now. Is I can make splines and then boolean the splines to get this nice continuous platform, but I'm not going to deal with it right now. I'm just really trying to establish like visually what this would look like, so I'm just going to keep them as fragments. Maybe sweep them to give a little bit of weight, but nothing fancy. I'm gonna angle snap it. Just trying to block in sense of like what the feel of this. And I really like that kind of connected, stretchy, organic kind of a look. Um, and that means that this walkway is going to probably weave in this really cool way around these. So let's maybe forget about the straight walkway here, move it out of the way, and try a oh man, this version of Max added this wonderful tool called it's the freehand spline tool, and I just like it for, like, it's not even, but when it's sort of, it's much more like the fluidity of sketching in space, and I can always go in and like smooth it out later, but maybe we'll have something really organic like that. Um, we just made a closed connected shape with these, and just gonna simplify this thing here. That's better. So now I can edit poly this thing, shell it, give it some thickness. Let's make it like 1/2 meter thick. And voila, we have like a twisty walkway. I'm gonna bring in the same platform down here and make a larger one as well. So it's just gonna copy it and use the radius. Reduce the height a little bit. Let's try a test render, just see how the shadows look in this. Wondering about the dark value of these. Well, for one thing, we also need an opening. So there's got to be a way for the people to actually get into these, right? I can do this with a Boolean cut. I don't really want to deal with it right now because I don't really need to. Again, this is about big picture thinking. Do not show me this warning again. I get it. New installs. Fader Kit says, I love the sort of scaly, organic look of the bases. Yeah, thanks. I like it too. I think I might want to play with them being lighter in value. They do have kind of a barky, tree trunky look now, but I think it would be cool to see if they were much lighter, like what that would look like. So right now there's no material on these things. I'm just relying solely on wire color. But so now they're a little more like this. That's nice too. I think they still look pretty planty. I might end up going with this as like a working thing. I think it's really weird what's happening optically here. You have this really dark, I mean, it's all the same object, and the object is light, but it's looking really dark in here behind the glass in a way that is kind of surprising. I don't know if it's because I'm doing GPU rendering. I actually kind of want these to be a little darker, I think. But these are Let's at least try that here. Something more like that. I really wanted to bring in some of the certain geometry. I think I can start bringing in some of my assets. But first off, I don't want this place to be quite as weavy. I think I'm going to want. I don't want to increase the distance too much. That's actually already like kind of a substantial amount to walk. We've got these all over, but we'll make another one. And this is just gonna be an instance right now. Um, this one will be a little further to walk here. And so I like compositionally what's happening there. I may end up stretching these whole things just a little bit. So we have a reflection of this. Yeah, I may end up stretching all of them. And the question is do I make the base? The initial idea was to have these. Let's try one here. Let's see what I was thinking. Close this group. Get rid of that. Oh. Interesting. I think it's flipping this, but not the other one. There's something kind of wonky about this geometry. It's gonna bring it in. How many levels do we want this to be? I have another idea too. I love this part of the process. It's like just trying stuff. Thinking about having kind of a partial dome around this that'd be made out of glass. It'd be maybe or some kind of a structural support that's like mostly transparent. So it'd be obviously missing where the people are coming in and out, but it's also a safety feature. Hopefully this road doesn't have too many people who deliberately want to jump off or are like super drunk or careless, or they would, but it could still happen. So it's good if these are a little bit enclosed. Growing the selection here. I got the angle off, but you can grow a selection and then convert it into polygons. So, and then I do a delete mesh. So this doesn't actually permanently delete the geometry. This is what I really like about this method. And give it a shell modifier. And go in and give it that really weird glass that I don't know why the glass is doing this. I use this glass a lot. It's my standard like super quick to render glass. I went in and made a bunch of materials and rendered them on this test scene and put in the material name all the time it took to render that test scene. And this only took 6 seconds. So it's my go-to glass, but it's doing some weird stuff that. Oh, you know what? I didn't add a thickness to this. Ah, that's why. That's why. Okay, so what happened is this thing thinks it's like a big volume, I think. And so I bet if I render now, I bet this one on the left is going to not be as weird. Yeah, see, there we go. That's what it was. See, it's acting a lot more normal now in terms of what glass is supposed to do. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a smooth modifier as well. Um, I like these overlaps. And yeah, I still haven't brought in any of my assets yet. I keep saying I will, and I keep doing other stuff. So we have our little peoples here. Can't wait to replace them with my 3D scanned people. Let's see, do I have a material on the... yeah. Mesh smooth is pretty important when it comes to glass, just if you really see the right reflections. Oops, just realized it is somehow, oh, I know, when I centered it I didn't that's better. Not sure how I'm feeling about this thing being up here at all. I was initially going to put it down underneath here. I'm also going to make this whole walkway transparent. Or for that original thing I said I'd do, I could make the top of the walkway glass and then the bottom part translucent. And that's going to do some really interesting things with the shadows on the people. Let's try that. I think now that I have a faster rendering, I might start adding materials closer on in the process. Oh, perfect. Yeah, so because we have a reflective surface that the people are on, this works out really well because now visually I'm getting that continuous line that I wanted going through this. So I don't really need to add this piece. I was worried that this piece was being blocked, but it's getting the reflection. So I don't need to. That works out. Now, of course, I might end up changing the angle or a whole bunch of other aspects of what I'm doing, but I like the camera angle enough. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and save a physical camera. Oops, I accidentally made a standard camera. Didn't mean to do that. Alright. And right now I'm in the default. I'm gonna move my new camera into my cameras and lights section. Get it out of the way. Close these groups. I'll ultimately end up deleting these back two ones, probably just working on the foreground one and then duplicate it through as I need to. So I mentioned there being a food court maybe up here somewhere, so it might be worth exploring that. I'm gonna make this one unique, get rid of mesh smooth, turn off shell, go into edit poly, Actually, I'm gonna make it at a poly here. So this will be the part of the dome that that people have access to the other side with. So I'm gonna do the same grow thing, be a little wider because there's gonna be a bigger area for people to go here. Convert it to polygon, delete mesh. And so now, if I ever wanted to bring this whole thing back and change the orientation of these openings, I totally can. It's a really nice thing. And I just turned off mesh smooth. So right now our radius is pretty big. It's about 15 meters, so it's about 30 meters total across this whole thing. It's about 90 feet. That's actually pretty big. Like, I definitely wanted big, so I might go for it here. Giant thing. I'm gonna put it on the other layer level here. And maybe it's just kind of, maybe I want the floor plan shape of this to be like, oh, I got the wrong one. I have to select this purple one. This is kind of the kind of floor that I'm thinking of. Is now when it comes time to actually render the final scene, I'll make splines out of these, and I will Boolean those so that they're one continuous object. But this is the quick and dirty now. It's actually a brand new tool in Max. I was using a plugin for it before, and so I know how the plugin works. I haven't actually done the default one. Debating whether to stretch these all out or not. I think I want there to be some garden, like some plants rigging around these openings down here, sort of like in those interior gardens that you see with like walls and stuff. Just want to see how these align with these platforms here. Like, are they flush with them? Looks like they are. Nope, not quite. I had a feeling it was a little off. Because we don't want people to be tripping, so they should be flush. Or flush-ish. I'm gonna go in and unify everything. That won't be as much of an issue. What'll end up happening is this is just gonna merge, rather than this being a circle with this walkway being a separate thing. They're just all going to be the same shape. So it's going to be this much more irregular, amorphous kind of shape. I want to play around with this walkway being less lighter and less opaque. So I'm in my material editor right now, and I'm going to bring up the refraction a good bit, make the diffuse color lighter, and apply it. this is what we have now. I kind of like this composition. I can work with this. Don't really like this thing up here. I kind of like the idea of this just kind of, you know, I want these things to be more teardrop shaped, I think. Less, this has got too much of a Jetsons look right now. It's too regular, too bubble housey looking. There's actually a few things I'd like to do with this. I could make it more of like a segmented pumpkin kind of look. I really like. That might be a good way to go. Yeah, I'm gonna try making one of those real quick. So what do we got here? We need to delete all these delete meshes. I'm just gonna have to redo the openings because I'm gonna be doing a radial symmetry kind of thing. So first of all, I'm gonna make it a little narrower. Looking at it here, you'll see why I'm making it narrower in just a second. Reset transform. Give it like 12 segments, so actually something kind of like that. See, it gives it that kind of like a pumpkin-y look that I like. And I'm not going to deal with the openings yet, I think, until I have a better sense of what I want. But now I can use my trusty cylinder FFD tool to kind of give it that a bit more of a like kind of gourd shape, kind of more just a bit more natural. Just a lot more interesting. I'm gonna version this. Usually I save more versions than this, but let's see. Looks like I made it a little too small. That's okay, I can just go in with my control points and get wider where I need to. Yeah, something like that. Check chats, see if anyone has any. You like this better than just the round one? That's about right. Right? I need to delete the old one, the round only one. Oops. Need to make this unique first. Nope, just see. You were seeing that the other one was. Wait a minute. Right. Somebody says, I like it. It looks cool like this. I assume you mean like the one that's a little more pumpkin-y. I'm gonna zoom into it and just do a quick test render of it, see what it looks like. Yeah, that's pretty neat. It's kind of crunchy right now in terms of like, I can go in. Oh, I know why. Once again, we are looking at a pure volumetric glass. I mean, this thing is just solid glass, and so that's why you're getting all of the distortion. So I need to re-add the shell modifier. It's pretty thick. Give it an inner modifier of just a few centimeters. Say, still make it kind of thick. Let's say 5 centimeters. So now if I render it again, you have this nice. Oh, I have an idea. So when I originally made this tool, not tool, but the shape. The radial symmetry, and then go to edit poly, and it should select the edges. Oh, that's weird. Oh, because I know why I did that. I think I just need to make a new one. Yes. All right. So what I want to get here is this shows all the seams highlighted. And so I was just going to quickly go in and make just a little bit of a structure so it's not just a glass bubble. Like a smooth version. Please get out of it. Oh, I think I know why it didn't work before. They changed the way it does things a little bit. So now I have this cage thing that I can then do a quick sweep with. Like in maybe an 8 centimeter radius, something like that. And right now it inherited the material from its parent, so I have to give it another material. Let's introduce something shiny, like shiny gold or something. Where did I put? I don't think it's in quick access. I've got a lot of materials. Metal shiny. Yeah. And because this is a new install, I still haven't color coded my all my material libraries, which makes them even more cumbersome. But I'm just gonna give it. I mean, let's just give it something really shiny. Just go all out. Love me some shiny metal. Oh, looked like I wasn't selecting children, but I was. So whoa, that's pretty trippy. I love it. In fact, that's so cool. I want to do something with this. Something. So I'm gonna save out another version. Most likely I'll forget that I had this cool happy accident and never go back to it. But I can always go back to my recordings now. It's one nice thing about doing the streaming is like if I ever do something, it's like how did I do that? I can if I can remember which recording it's in, I can go and find it. So, anyways, I'm gonna go in and I think I'm gonna go ahead and delete that camera one. It's kind of useless now. I don't like it. So we're replacing that. So yeah, let's see what that looks like. So did I? Oh, that's why I deleted the shell modifier when I worked on this, which would explain why I'm getting so much glass distortion. That is why. So it remembers, Max remembers your last setting. So it's going to be a little less crazy now than it was. But so boom. But so, it's got kind of like a greenhouse feel to it, but ultimately, and yeah, you can see that really bright shine. I mean, we're looking at shiny brass. These highlights are a little too much, but I'll just leave it now. The thing is that the brass renders quickly, very quickly. So, so yeah, I'm actually kind of inclined now to put some little shiny pops on some of these pieces here. I just realized that I made a wire color. Let's isolate these, open the groups. Yeah, I did this thing I try to avoid typically, is I made the wire color the same for a different object, so it makes it kind of hard to see what you're doing in wireframe mode. Um, so I just need to make these, first of all, different, some kind of different. My colors are often arbitrary. I got this nice yellow. I kind of like this. This really suggests, like, stamens on the flower or something. I actually think I might want to go with that. So now now that I have a unique color, I can select that color. So I just selected all of those. And so I'm going to go in with something that's less shiny. So I'm going to open up the material library. It takes a while to load all these. Such a material hoarder. So I have material is frosty and dull, which is a frosty dull metal. So I want to give them a saturated, frosted kind of a. Maybe I'll go into the bronze. This renders real quick, and make the diffuse color something more bright and happy, like that. So now, but I locked this scene. Oh, there we go. So you can see them here. They're gonna need some thickness. But maybe a little darker. I just gave them a shell modifier with more thickness. I can also chamfer them to like make them a little more rounded. That's weird. I guess I need to have edit poly for it to chamfer. That's weird. I'm gonna go back to my original view. And really, my render is so fast now, I can really afford to up the size. So yeah, I like that. I think we'll go with that. What I'm really liking here is what's going on with the reflections. It's pretty cool. One thing is I want some material consistency. So I definitely like the frosted metal better. So I'm gonna go into these. First of all, I'm gonna delete this guy, and so make this the same material. So it's that kind of a brass kind of a thing. Group it. Then make an instance. I keep saying instances for people who aren't familiar with 3D. An instance is a copy where you're only referencing one in memory. You know what I'll also do? Well, no, I won't. Um, you're only referencing one in memory, so I made functionally a copy of this, but if I change A, B is going to change automatically because B is referencing A. So it's only holding A in memory, but I can have like hundreds of copies of B, and it doesn't slow down your computer to a crawl, um, which is pretty nice. Having lots of RAM helps. I've got 64 gigs of RAM in this machine, so it's very, very nice. So yeah, I've got this nice kind of like a greenhouse kind of thing going on here. I dig it. All right, so this is gonna be some kind of a food thing. I remember. Um, how big will a floor be? An average floor. So we got a person. So floor is maybe 1, 2, 3. Let's say if it's 9 feet, we add all the stuff in between floors. Say, because it's kind of a big place, 4 meters. That's about right. That's about 1,200 centimeters. I'm just using this as sort of a like a measurement thing. That's actually like a huge floor. I don't actually want it that big. It's about 12 feet. I still don't. My little people. I would say I've been using like yard to meter as being about the same, but I'm gonna make all my guys a little taller. I don't know, okay, I keep forgetting. I would go in and go like average height of human in centimeters. I look up things like railings too, like what is the average railing height? 175 centimeters. Yeah, see, I thought it was about like that. So yeah, we're right on our heights. That's the average male though, so I'm gonna make it 170. So my people are actually pretty short compared to. This is better. So it's supposed to be a big open space, so I don't want the floors to be really cramped. Um, yeah, that'll work. I've got to stretch. Fader Kitchen on Twitch just said Frosty and Doll is what they called me in high school. Yeah, that is a great that is a great like quirk to be able to rattle off all the like required architecture stuff. Because I think he did. Yeah, he is an architect, right? I'm just a fake architect. He is. Yeah, that's right. I remember. 6-pin bowling variants. I don't. I don't know what a bowling variant is. You're talking about a kind of bowling where all the pins are six. Um, like that's the total count of pins. Or are you talking about like? Oh, are you talking about all the different configurations of 6 pins after some have been knocked over? Oh, uh, okay. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea on that one. All right, back to work here. I'm gonna have to leave pretty soon, anyways. I'm doing something later tonight, so uh, I one of these days I'm gonna do like a marathon stream. I promise. Third Gatekeeper says, I contain an awful lot of useless Magic the Gathering information, so it's good that I'm playing again. Um, Magic is, if you think about it, like, I think the last time I read there's 15,000 different unique Magic cards. And I'm sure some of them have the same mechanics, but still, like, that's a lot of stuff to remember. I mean, compare that to, say, how many species, like, an entomologist probably knows, or something. It's like, it's kind of incredible. Um, yeah, they really should get, like, elderly people into playing Magic the Gathering, because I keep hearing that games that require, like, memorizing lots of unique information, it somehow helps to defend against Alzheimer's or something. Um, uh, yeah. Anyways, so sometimes I'll just make boxes as sort of a benchmark for floors, and they're just sort of like having a little measuring stick. Because I wanted to have this be kind of multiple floors. This could be shops too. Like I've already kind of decided this is going to be maybe some kind of like a commerce center, basically like a futuristic malls. It's like malls are going to come back, guys. Um, Maybe another floor all the way up here. This helps to like kind of establish scale. Just gonna make these go all the way up for now, and then decide how high to make them later. Yeah, I agree that the in this future, I think somehow parking is not going to be a thing. I live in San Diego, and parking's kind of a sore spot. There are times if the venue is close, I will just take rideshare rather than try to park. Um, yeah, typically my features are very mass transit heavy. Um, oh, and the worst thing is too is like I would never want to have a new car in San Diego because it's like they make the parking spaces as tight as you could possibly get away with, and so everyone's just got like fender benders and little dings from other people or themselves, like damaging their cars just from the parking. Um, all right. One thing I like doing is when I multiply a bunch of cylinders around, it really helps get a better sense of the space. I did want to have some walls somewhere. Uh huh. Yep. Oh no way. Nathan on Facebook says small world just moved to San Diego. What part of San Diego? And then Fader Kit says spending that much on a car is a clear mark of insanity in LA. Yep. Uh, um, and the other thing too is like you have such small driveways, and a lot of people they use their garages for storage because all the houses are so small, and so everybody's car is stored outside, and so it's getting bombarded by sun all the time, and so you end up having all this paint damage that happens like way faster than it would in a place with like more space. There's all kinds of reasons why I would never want to have I wouldn't actually want to have an expensive car in general, but especially in a place like this. Uh, I drive an '04 Honda Civic, and it's just fine. It has been a lot of rain here lately. It's kind of unusual. It's very welcome. I live in kind of a fire trap area that we are all very grateful for the rain. Yep. Someone else says Johnny Cat says I'm super okay with never owning a brand new car. Yep. I feel like everybody I know does not give a crap about cars. I don't know. Is that like an older generation thing or something that people the whole like status thing with cars? It's like I don't know. To me, the features of like a really expensive car, I really can't tell the difference. Like I'm pretty attuned to design, but like I can't even if you were going on aesthetics, I have a hard time just telling the difference between an expensive car and a cheap car. Um, Especially with all the safety features, like regulations and car bodies, they all have that like bubble car look. Someone else says I don't think it's generation, it's just click based. Yeah, that's that's probably like a big part of it. They're definitely folks in my. Yep, I come from a rural Midwestern hometown too. High five. Um, I mean, I can see if you spend hours and hours in your car every day, you might spend a little more for like a nicer interior. One thing about my car, my one complaint is it's very loud. If I tried to play music in my car and I was on the freeway, it's not well insulated. So I think one of the things that it might be worth spending more on is more insulation, like more soundproofing in the car, because then I have to crank up the music really loud if I want to hear it properly, which is bad for ears. Um, all right, back to worky stuff here. Side doing this. Oh, I get what I just did. I need to make the object unique. So here's an alternative to the mall ideas. If we're far enough in this future, and we have like I tend to like to design optimistic features. If I'm gonna check chat here. I've had a Jeep for 5 years, no music. Yep. Um, oh wow, lots of stuff in chat. Let me catch up here. Um, I beat up 2010 Toyota Matrix. It's got me through a lot. Tend to keep it until I can't anymore. Nice. People are talking about cars here. I do think boomer generation elevated cars to a status symbol even across a variety of subcultures. I think younger Americans skew more towards cars are just a dumb necessity. Yep. Um, I can I can personally, from personal experience, confirm that. Um, Changing economies have undercut the ubiquity of cars as a status symbol. Yeah, well, speaking of material stuff, here I'm designing a future with the mall, and what I really like are futures where manufacturing is very cheap, and something where you don't have to do a lot of transportation for manufacturing. So you would have these localized centers. They'd be like 3D printing centers that are close to where you live, and so you can order goods that you want and have them made locally. And so there's a lot more variety. You don't have to make a huge amount of something just to get the economy of scale down, and then transport it all around. And I've read up on this. There are problems with that. There are reasons why you would want to do economy of scale stuff, versus something like 3D printing. But in this scenario, it is cheap, and so the idea is maybe the mall is a little bit more like a physical catalog. So you go to this mall thing and you can see physical examples of everything you want, and you can pick something and go, I want that one, and then have it made for you and maybe delivered to you in a few days or something. But you still want to go to a physical place to see it. So maybe it would be something where you still want to try things on, that kind of thing. So it says I went to live in Kirsten's world. Yeah, me too. That's what helps me keep engaged with my personal work. Actually, is that I have a tendency to really like project myself into the thing I'm working on, where I really kind of feel like I'm there, and so I tend to want to. I'm more likely to gravitate towards places I'd actually want to spend all these hours in. So, uh, um, if 3D printing gets better, that is a possible solution. Yeah, 3D printing is just very energy hungry, but there are definitely ways to get that down. And when you count the energy of, you know, I've done 3D printing, and it's just like mechanically the fiddliness of it. There's a lot of ways it can break. So like the maintenance required to make like mass make goods, and just all the electricity of moving this head back and forth, and all the heat you need, like keep the stuff hot versus injection molding. It's like I can 3D print a toothbrush, and it's going to take 2 hours to make, or you can just have a machine that's just spitting out toothbrushes like this. It does still make sense to mass manufacture some stuff. So maybe there still is some mass manufacturing in this world. But the idea of it is that novelty becomes more of the currency and more of the status symbol. Is that okay? I can have good. Anybody can have goods for of any kind of complexity for fairly cheap. So what's going to be the new status? It's probably going to be uniqueness. So, it's going to be something that I think that novelty would become an increase, and you're already seeing this trend now. So, yeah. So what am I doing here? I want to make some walls for this. Like this doesn't feel like an interior yet. This feels like an exterior. So I'm going to go in with the normal line tool and so like IKEA. So it said, I mean, yeah, kind of like IKEA. Yeah, maybe this is the future IKEA. I had a cupcake 3D printer for a while. It was difficult to keep running again. A cupcake 3D printer? It's tough to actually use a 3D printer somehow. They're fun. It's very gratifying to see your virtual thing become reality. Janus Kane on Twitch says I get bored and buy stupid things I don't need to keep myself entertained and reduce the dull nature of existence, like 3D printers and VR headsets. Hey, I do that too. Kind of, at least the headset part. Well, here's what I do: is I justify everything as a tool, but I've so intertwines my work and my life in such a way that everything I like is a part of what I do. And so I get a 3D I get a VR headset, not because I'm entertaining myself, but it's needed for my work. But it totally is. So, it's not only a tax write-off, but I can I don't get that many toys, but whenever I do, I usually find myself somehow trying to justify it. Yeah. If I buy comic books, hey, that's inspiration. That's an important part of my work. Is I need to scope out the current industry trends. Or else, in order to stay current, staying relevant is part of what I do, right? And reference material, of course. All those, yeah. Those magic cards, yeah. I need to get a sense of yes, reference materials are important. All right, walls. You're making walls. So I still wanted to have a big courtyard way out here. So back here somewhere. I think I'm gonna make a ginormous And another cylinder here. It's super huge. So this will be the biggest part of the building. This is kind of where everybody comes together, and yeah. I'll put it over here somewhere. I'm unfortunately going to need to go soon. So we're gonna have multiple floors down here. I think I'm gonna show what some of the actual like shops and stuff look like too. But I think that all of these guys need some kind of a support structure going through all of them. I really love like the kind of treehouse aesthetic that keeps something I'd really love to see more of. So this is kind of like a trunk with it's really kind of conceptually similar to tree houses. Um, so I want to have a big vault thing going off of this. And so maybe I'm gonna go ahead and make a quick oh, I have this awesome trick for making interesting kind of decorative stuff. It's a good example of lateral thinking. Um, I forget what I called this. I'm just gonna have to browse for it. Um, so I have not updated this with the latest fonts. I just downloaded a bunch of new fonts, but I use typed fonts to model. So these are all different free fonts I found. I want to find some that'll look good together. Um, this one is speaking to me. Yeah, they're basically wingdings. Never thought I'd have a use for wingdings. These I rather like, and I think that they go well with the kind of the theme. So what I did is I installed these fonts and I use this as a reference. So I go into Max and I just type in the letters I need for the symbols I need. So it's a really quick way to just browse and get shapes in. Because then I can extrude those and turn them into geometry. So yeah. Let's go into so the font we want is WS Simple Gillifreyan. There we go. I can make it bold if I want to, which I usually do. Don't want to italicize it. So which ones do I like here? Wait, there's a Doctor Who fan font? Is that, do I know zero about Doctor Who. I'm curious, which is the Doctor Who fan font? Um, just gonna, like, I don't know if you can see the text. But I'm just kind of curious. Simple Gillifreyan. Oh, really? Wait, so if I use this stuff, people are gonna think it's a Doctor Who reference? I just found it because I thought it looked cool. Um, Interesting. Well then, because I've used this before in client work, like you couldn't really tell because I extruded it, and now I had no idea. It didn't say on the website that I got it from. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've never seen Doctor Who. I don't know. It's good to know. Well, you guys will know there's an unwitting Easter egg in this scene because I still like it enough to use it. So let's see. So we need a capital C, a capital H, M. They kind of bounce around a little bit. Not a huge fan of that. I was hoping they'd all line up. That's like part of what I was trying to do here. Maybe we won't use this one. Never mind. I forgot about this. For some reason, it's not. Oh, I know. I wasn't in edit mode. That's why. Just gonna do my. Why? It's supposed to. I keep selecting the one I want, and it keeps. Until they changed the type tool, it used to be that you could just change the drop down, and it would change it. I don't know if this is a bug or not. So this is the text plus tool. So they may have changed it. All right, there we go. And see what's neat about it is with the italicization and stuff, you can. So yeah, all I wanted was just to take some alternating versions of these and squish them together and make this cool decorative vaulted thing. That's it. Make it default shading so you can really see this here. Giving it the shell modifier. Oh, this is interesting. There we go. So I've basically just given thickness to these. Now the text can be a little bit glitchy. I still think it's a really good way to block in geometry, but I typically just, it's often not worth fixing these guys. So if there's a messed up one, nuke it. Oh, you know what? It's after 8. I'm gonna have to go anyway, so much for that. Yeah, thanks. Thank you to everyone who came in. Oh wait, more chat to catch up on. Let's see. Oh, someone said it's not a real thing from the show. If you ever have hundreds of hours, it's a pretty decent show. All right, I'll keep that in mind. People are talking about Doctor Who here. It's a silly nonsense show. I love it. I wouldn't call it must watch. Yeah, that's everything I kind of hear from it. It's like, it's fine. It's interesting. All right, well, yeah, yeah, so you guys got to watch me set something up from scratch. Maybe I'll do a quick test render one more time before I leave. Just something to end things on. Um, Man, I still have stuff I want to do before I do that test render, but I probably shouldn't. Um, so this is kind of what we're looking at here. Um, so yeah, I think it's a nice start. Um, there's still a lot that can be done with it. Um, Thank you guys. Yeah, we'll see how it comes together. So I'm gonna save this guy, and yeah, thanks everybody for stopping in. Have a great night.